Thanks everybody for being here. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning over on the other side of the world again. Welcome to today's webinar, The Power of Pregnancy Nutrition. I'm Leslie Simay, Director of Professional Development at Great Valley Publishing, publishers of Today's Dietitian, and I'm the host for today's show. Before we get started, we have the usual points of housekeeping. First, in order to claim your credit, you have to stay with us through the entire hour-long show. And second, this is a bonus. Our speaker wants to provide you with some practical resources and templates that can get you results fast. Thank you just for joining us live. In the chat box, you'll find the free access to the free ready-made 7-day pregnancy meal plan filled with nourishing meal ideas and recipes that you can share with your pregnancy clients. So click the link in the chat box to download your copy. Usually you have to pay for this fantastic resource, but it's free for you today. It'll be available for a limited time only, so make sure you download it now. And then, of course, finally, at the end of our session, the presenter will be taking questions. If you have a question, pop it in the chat box or use the raise your hand feature in the lower menu of the Zoom, the reactions button in the Zoom menu to raise your hand and have a direct interaction with Melanie. Finally, Early Life Nutrition Alliance was approved by the CDR to offer 1 CEU for this webinar. And here's a little bit about today's webinar sponsor. Early Life Nutrition Alliance is an international team of experienced dietitians who specialize in fertility, prenatal, and postnatal nutrition. The team aims to support healthcare professionals advocate for the role of nutrition during the first 1,000 days through the provision of training, coaching, and
over there.
Early Life Nutrition wants all dietitians to make a truly bigger difference in the lives of their clients. For more information on the resources and training Early Life Nutrition Alliance has to offer, visit earlylifenutritionalliance.com. So today's presenter has the following relevant disclosures to report. She's a consultant to Tatura Milk Industries. She was a former consultant to Max BioCare, Bayer Australia, and Danone Murray Goulburn. So let's jump in and get started. I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker, Melanie McGrice. She's an Australian advanced accredited practicing dietitian with over 20 years of experience. She's the founder of the Early Life Nutrition Alliance. Her success has led her to being awarded the coveted Australian Dietitian of the Year Award in 2018 and has made her an in-demand practitioner, researcher, published author, and speaker. Melanie's professional network is extensive. She's been a senior media spokesperson for the Dietitians Australia for more than a decade, and she served on multiple boards, including the Board of Dietitians Australia and the Early Life Nutrition Coalition. While Melanie's interest for working in early life nutrition somewhat stemmed from personal reasons, her passion in this area really grew when she understood the difference our diet can make to the epigenetics of our babies. She works to spread this important message to other healthcare professionals and their clients. And so with all of that, this impressive resume, our speaker is ready to join us now, and I'm going to turn it over to her. Melanie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Leslie. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. I'm just going to try and share my screen. Fantastic. There we go. Oops. For some reason we are stopped. So let me just go back to sorry. That's not a good start for us, is it? Okay, from the beginning. There we go. Great. Well, again, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. With this, I am just going to take my video away so that everybody can focus on the slides, and then let's get into it all. Okay, so first of all, if you are a dietitian who wants to make a difference, you're going to get a lot of value out of today's training. So I just want to make sure that everybody's got a pen and paper handy, because I don't want you to miss anything, because this training is going to be a little bit different than usual. First of all, I'm sure that you already noticed my Aussie accent. And down under, we're all about authenticity. So I want you to expect an in-your-face, nuts and bolts, to the point type of presentation today. And I'm going to start by just, because one of the questions that I always get asked by my American friends is the debate about kangaroos. Do we actually have kangaroos in our backyard or not? And I'm sure you're all burning to know the answer. The answer is that it depends a little bit on where you live. So I personally live in inner city Melbourne, so surrounded by houses. So we have no kangaroos in our backyard. But you drive an hour out to my parents' place where I grew up, and they live in a more rural area. And yes, they have kangaroos outside my mom's kitchen window pretty much any day of the week. So now you've got the answer to that question. Secondly, is that I intend to give you some new perspectives that you might not have considered before when it comes to how you can make a difference as a dietitian. So if you have a heart for making a difference, you're going to love this. You see, my goal is to show you how and why assisting mamas during pregnancy can change not only a mama's pregnancy, but also to change the lives of the children growing in her womb. So if you're a dietitian who wants to make a bigger difference, then I really want you to listen in. The problem is that we only have a short time together today, and there's so much information about this. So that's why we wanted to provide you with some free resources so that you can start implementing what we discuss and making a difference even faster. But my main ask is that I really want you to take action on the ideas that resonate with you. And so I want to ask you, who here who's joining us would consider themselves an action taker? Like, are you guys people who do take action? I hope so. And so I hope that you'll type a big yes into the chat box for me, or that at least you're nodding from home.
In terms of our free gift, we've put together a quick start bundle, which you are going to love. So firstly, it contains a 7-day prenatal meal plan. Now, this meal plan, like I said, it contains 7 days worth of suggested breakfasts, lunches, snacks, dinners, etc., which can be mixed and matched. So your client can choose to have the same breakfast from Monday to Friday, and then the day 4 breakfast on Saturday, and the day 2 breakfast on Sunday if they want to. So they can mix and match, or they can swap their snacks around. So they could have all of their snacks for afternoon tea in the afternoon, or have some in the morning and some in the afternoon and some in the evening, as suggested in the meal plan. But it also comes with loads of recipes, which are going to be a fantastic resource for your clients. And that's just a way to help you really to provide extra value to your clients. So feel free to share that with them. Secondly, our Quick Start bundle contains a prenatal supplement comparison chart, and this is specifically a chart of prenatal multivitamins from the USA. And so I'll explain more about how to utilize this later, but our dietitians just find it such a valuable resource. We also include just a short mini training on how to personally tailor prenatal supplements to your clients' needs. And that is a must watch, because let me tell you, it can revolutionize your practice. So all of this Quick Start bundle you can download from www.earlylifenutritionalliance.com/bonus bundle. And I really encourage you to do it now, because it won't be up indefinitely. It'll only be available for a short period of time. So you might even want to pause the video now, go and download your bonus bundle, and then come back to me.
So even though I'm from the other side of the world, I've worked with a lot of US dietitians, and I reckon I can read you guys pretty well. So let me see if I'm right. I reckon that you became a dietitian to help people. Am I right? Well, I think that you are passionate about making a difference. You went to uni, you got the grades, you really could have done anything. You could have done law, you could have specialized in research, but you chose this path because you were willing to put the money and the accolades aside to help people. But sometimes in the dark of the night, do you ever wonder if you made the right career choice? You know, it's frustrating when you do study hard and you tick all the boxes and you did everything that you were supposed to do. But do you ever have that little niggling feeling inside of you that you're wondering if you're really making the difference that you were hoping that you wanted to? Well, that was me many years ago. I was also a dietitian who ticked all the boxes. You heard my resume at the start. I studied hard. I got a graduate position working clinically at a hospital. I opened my own private practice on the side. I even had a role as one of Dietitian Australia's senior media spokespeople. But the more that time went on, the more disenchanted I actually felt with our profession, to be brutally honest with you. And I've come to learn that there's a thing about dietetics that makes it really difficult. You see, physios, if somebody has a sore back, they go to see a physio because they want their back fixed now. So people have this incredible motivation to go and see that physio straight away. Same thing is if you've got an ingrown toenail, you're going to go straight to a podiatrist. Like, people are in pain, and so they will do anything to get in to see those other allied health. Same thing with doctors. If you're sick, you want to get to the doctor because you want that doctor to fix you straight away. But dietetics is a bit of a different profession in that the reasons why people come to see us aren't quite as urgent, and we don't actually physically, tangibly do anything. We don't massage people's pain so that they walk out feeling better. We don't use any products physically and tangibly on people so that they can leave our consultation feeling better. We use our education and we counsel. And we use our communication skills to then help people to make their own changes. And whilst that is fantastic, and we've gone into dietetics because we love what we do, it can mean that, particularly if you're working privately, that you can get a lot of people rescheduling consultations and putting off consultations and not always making the changes that we want people to make, which is really frustrating and disheartening. And that means that then we can be left wondering whether we're actually making the differences that we want to. And so, to be honest with you, I got to a point in my career where I was really at the point of doing something else. I was toying between going to do a PhD just because that seemed like the next box to tick, or going back to uni to study medicine because I wanted that feeling of being able to make a difference. But that was where I learned about epigenetic programming. So I'm interested to know, and again, I'd love you to put into the chat, who of you knows about epigenetic programming? So epigenetic programming, it's got a few different names. It's also known as the first 1,000 days or early life nutrition. But essentially, we get two sets of genes from our birth parents, one from our birth mom and one from our birth dad. And epigenetic programming is how these genes are programmed during the first years of life to influence our future health, including our IQ, our food preferences, our immune system, our risk of chronic diseases, our brain development, and so much more. And so it's often now called a bit more sexily the first 1,000 days. And it's this period of time from preconception through to infancy. There's a lot of debate about when the first 1,000 days actually starts and stops. I like to think that in my first 1,000 days, I like to start for 3 months prior to conception because of the impact upon the eggs and sperm that then go on to impact baby's future health. And then we used to say up to 24 months, so up to the age of 2, but now there's some debate that it may even be up to the age of 3, where this important period of epigenetic programming occurs. But today we're really talking about the 9 months of pregnancy, and that is definitely within this first 1,000 days period. And so all of a sudden, I realized that I held the keys to giving the next generation a better start in life. And what parent doesn't want this for their kids? Suddenly, instead of worrying where my next client would come from, I had a waiting list for my services, because it's just such a motivating factor for parents, and they have a time limit as well. It's not something that you can put off. It's not something, so for example, if you've been diagnosed with diabetes and you've got to go and see a dietitian, you're like, oh yeah, okay, well, I'm going to, something's come up at work, so I'm going to reschedule my consultation. But when someone is pregnant, they know that they've got a really short period of time. So that significantly increases people's motivation to go and see the dietitian and to get the results that they need. So I had this key revelation in my journey, that was that specializing in epigenetic programming or early life nutrition can really turn the tide of the diabetes epidemic, can reduce rising rates of allergies, and can literally change what the next generation eats. And importantly, can give us back the keys to truly making a lasting impact, which is the reason why I, and I'm guessing you, became dietitians in the first place. Now, the problem is that to really get this message out there into the community, because I'm on an absolute mission to change the way that community thinks about pregnancy, in that when they get pregnant, at the moment, they'll often go to their pharmacist to buy some supplements. They'll go to, they'll book in to see an obstetrician. They'll go and see a local GP, but often they don't think about going to see a dietitian. And so I am on a mission to change the culture so that every pregnant mama goes to see a prenatal dietitian. But for that to happen, we really need more dietitians working in and specializing in this space, because at the moment there's not enough. And so there needs to be more dietitians specializing in this space. And when you think about how many hundreds of thousands of women are getting pregnant each year, there is so much opportunity in this area. And now what I want to do is I want to go into why nutrition is so powerful during pregnancy. And although epigenetic programming can have, like I said, a huge impact, I'm just going to give you 3 specific examples in today's presentation. So the first one, principle 1, is that optimizing a mama's nutrition during pregnancy can change a baby's brain development. Now, this is a picture of my gorgeous little girl, and she's actually adopted. So she didn't have the right nutrition during pregnancy. Her birth mum really struggled with drugs and alcohol and malnutrition as well, and a whole host of other issues, mental health complications and things. And so she was born really behind the 8 ball. And already at the age of 3, she does find learning difficult, emotional regulation and problem solving all difficult. And a lot of that goes back to her nutrition and her environment in utero. You see, a baby's brain is wired whilst in the womb. And so the nutrition that they're getting during pregnancy is so incredibly important. So during pregnancy, iodine, and so I'm just going to really burrow in now on iodine as a specific example. Because obviously there's a host of nutrients that are important during pregnancy, but again, due to time, I just want to focus on one, and then I'm going to just highlight a couple of other really key ones. The iodine obviously is important for maintaining the normal functioning of the thyroid gland. It also helps to regulate the fetus's metabolism and has an impact upon baby's weight in the future. And it's essential for development of the fetus's brain and nervous system development. And then research suggests that the requirement of iodine during pregnancy increases as a result of at least 3 factors. So firstly, an increased requirement for thyroxine in order to maintain normal metabolism in the mother. Secondly, a transfer of that thyroxine and iodine from the mum to the fetus. And then thirdly, supposed greater than normal loss of iodine through the kidneys due to an increase in the renal clearance of iodine. So the American Thyroid Association recommends pregnant mums consume at least 250 micrograms per day during pregnancy. And it's particularly important during that first 14 to 16 weeks of pregnancy. A deficiency in iodine during pregnancy, which is classified by the World Health Organization as a urinary iodine concentration of less than 150 micrograms per litre, has been associated with cretinism, which is a condition of severely stunted physical and mental growth. Now, we don't see that too often these days because public health initiatives have been put in place to help to reduce the risk of cretinism. So things like since 2015, there was a paper that came out and a statement that came out recommending that all prenatal supplements have at least 150 micrograms of iodine in them. And so that is something that has really helped to reduce the risk of cretinism. But there was a landmark paper that was published quite a while ago now, back in 2013, which was part of the Avon longitudinal study from the UK. And what this study found was that even though the UK was previously considered iodine replete, they found that actually when they did this randomized control trial, they actually found that there was mild iodine deficiency, and that mums with only a mild iodine deficiency, so of 110 micrograms or anything less than 150, their babies were actually in the lowest quartile for verbal IQ at 8 years of age. And so this was a landmark paper which really impacted the way that people perceived iodine going forward, because what we've learned is that it's not just about meeting the cutoff, but it's about having adequate iodine in the diet to not just reduce the risk of cretinism, but also to optimize brain development and IQ years down the track. The World Health Organization has this quote where they say iodine deficiency is the world's most prevalent yet easily preventable cause of brain damage. But like I said, it's now not just about reducing the risk of it's not just about eradicating deficiency, but there's now a really important role for dietitians in terms of improving learning outcomes in children. And I just think that that is incredible that dietitians, and really it's only us, I mean, think about it, who else has the skills and ability to be able to analyze somebody's dietary intake to see if they're meeting their iodine requirements, because there's no test that you can do to see if somebody's meeting their iodine requirements. The only way that we can do it is through dietary analysis. So to look at research that is a little bit newer, there was a more recent meta-analysis that also went on to show that that countries like America are actually finding that just again, this slightly lower intake of iodine can have an impact on children's IQ well into the future. So this is the type of opportunity that dietitians working in this space have to have an impact on the next generation. It's interesting to note, now this study was back from 2017, but they found that over 75% of US obstetricians and midwives do not recommend iodine supplementation to patients planning to become pregnant or during pregnancy, despite the deleterious effects of iodine deficiency in women of reproductive age, which is quite astounding. Now, I do think that there's been some improvements over the last few years, but again, obstetricians and midwives have got so many things to focus on that they're not thinking about the details of whether somebody's meeting their iodine requirements or not. They're thinking about, the right size and how they're going preparing for labour. Are there any medical issues? And so alone as dietitians have this incredible opportunity in terms of epigenetic programming and to help parents to make a huge impact in the lives, growing future brain development a little bit. Like I can see in black and white, her mum didn't take any prenatal supplements. There's no way that she would have met her iodine requirements. And so, I can see in black and white the difference that it makes. And so really help our clients to do. And again, just because they're taking a nutritional supplement doesn't mean that they're going to be meeting their full requirements of 250 to be getting another 100 micrograms a day. And salt is obviously the main, but processed foods don't use iodized salt in general. And so this is where it comes down to people's dietary intake. The fetal brain is incredibly complex and requires numerous nutrients for optimal development. So just a few key ones. Folate is nucleotide synthesis, also transmitter production and methylation. And so studies have found that folate intake can impact behaviour and cognitive development. Choline is another important nutrient. Animal studies suggest that now choline is a large compound, and so it means that if choline is in a nutritional supplement, that it makes it a very large supplement, and so most women won't take it. So yes, you can supplement it. You can buy choline supplements alone, but the best way is to make sure that people are meeting it through their diets. And again, that doesn't happen. Research shows that that choline intake, particularly during pregnancy when requirements are higher, tend to that most pregnant women don't meet their choline requirements. In fact, less than 5% of pregnant mums tend to meet this important nutrient for brain development. Iron is really important for central nervous system development. Early life iron deficiency results in neurodevelopmental alterations that persist despite iron repletion. And so again, it's no point increasing iron intake later on when someone's breastfeeding, whatever, it needs to happen during pregnancy. And so this again is where we as dietitians can have such a huge role to the brain development of these children in utero. And people just don't know about this information. And so we've got to get it out there. And it's got to come from us. It can't come from anyone else. It has to come from dietitians. And so this is where we need more dietitians working in this space. Because it has to be individually tailored as well. And then DHA is another example where, and so again, not just omega-3, but DHA specifically. So it's the dominant fatty acid in brain cells, and research suggests that it plays a key role in memory, learning, and problem solving. So part of the package that we have, the bonus bundle that we've put together for you, is that we've actually analysed a whole range of American prenatal supplements so that you can easily, when a client comes in, you can have a look at what their needs are, what their unique needs are, and then have a look at what are going to be the best nutritional supplements for that particular client. And so in the bonus bundle, there's a short 17-minute video that explains how to utilize these ready reckoners so that you can start using them this week with your clients, and really help to give your clients that personalized supplement advice. Not that it should just be about supplements. Again, when it comes to brain development, like a lot of those should be done through dietary manipulation. All right, so let me get on to principle number 2, which is optimizing a mama's nutrition during pregnancy can program their baby's taste buds for success. So research shows that 1 in 5 children are going to be fussy eaters. Now, it's really interesting. I want to go into this particular study. It was a systematic review on the influence of maternal diet on flavour transfer to amniotic fluid. And so this is a summary of the papers that they found. So there were 11 papers that they found during pregnancy. So you can see that the first few, so alcohol, garlic, carrot, and anise, which is the anise seeds, which has a taste similar to aniseed, so the star anise. That for those, they used either chemical testing to see whether the volatiles, which is the olfactory smell and flavour, transferred into the amniotic fluid, or else they also tested children's behavioural response to the flavour. And then the diet quality and dietary patterns, the last 4 down there, that's where they did some type of either food frequency questionnaire or diet recall, and then correlated that with children's diets down the track. And with all of these, they found significant correlations. So I just want to go into one of these studies in a bit more detail for you, which was a carrot study. So in this study, what they did was they randomly assigned pregnant mums to one of 3 groups. And so in group 1, the mums drank 300 mils of carrot juice for 4 days a week during their last trimester of pregnancy. And then there was a control group, and then there was one where they drank it during breastfeeding. And then approximately 4 weeks after the mums began complementing their infant's diet with cereal, and before the infants had been given any foods or juices tasting with the flavour of carrots, The infants were then videotaped as they fed, and the mums also rated their infants' enjoyment of the food on a 9-point scale. And the results demonstrated that the infants who had exposure to the flavour of carrots in their amniotic fluid, so during pregnancy, had a significantly improved reaction to the carrot flavoured porridge when they were first given it. And so I think that study sums up nicely this research that shows how important flavour is to our mums during pregnancy. And I personally, I love, the research shows that that babies' taste buds are developed by 16 weeks during pregnancy. And so I love it when my pregnant mamas come in and I'm able to explain to them that their babies can now taste everything that they're eating. And it's such a great motivator for mamas. So I want to challenge you. So if you think about the clients that you've worked with over the years, maybe whether it's clients with type 2 diabetes or inflammation, and you think about, we as dietitians know what foods that they should be eating, but they just don't have that palate for nutritious foods. And then imagine how life-changing it could be to those clients if they were happy to drink water instead of soda, or if their taste buds had been programmed to like nutritious foods in utero. And maybe even think about your taste buds and the types of foods that you like and the foods that your mum consumed in utero. Can you personally think of any correlations? Another really interesting study looked at what mums ate in utero, and then what mums were eating now and what dads were eating now. And they looked at, and they were analysing kids at 5 years of age, and they looked at whether the kids at 5 years of age, which of those 3 diet categories they were most similar to, and their diets were most similar to. And the research found that the kids at 5 years of age, their diets were most similar to what their mums ate in utero. And again, I think that study is a great motivator to why our clients should be eating so well during pregnancy. And I find that it's just that knowledge is an incredible motivator for my clients. Okay, so let's move on to principle number 3. And that is that optimizing a mama's nutrition during pregnancy can optimize their baby's future microbiome. So again, stats show that 1 in 5 kids are going to have eczema, 1 in 9 will have asthma, 1 in 10 will have a food allergy, and 1 in 4 will have a high BMI. So kids these days are just the rates of health issues for kids are just on the increase. And again, if I go back to my life before I started to specialize in this area, and I felt like whenever I was doing interviews with journalists, and they were saying, what are we going to do about this rising epidemic of food allergies? What are we going to do about these rising rates of high BMIs in kids? And there was I really didn't have much a very good answer. Whereas now, the answer I give is that, well, by working with mums during pregnancy, that's where we're actually able to have the greatest impact on these rising rates. Like, I feel like I actually have an answer now. And so, again, this is where I'm just so passionate about getting this message out there. And so we need these prenatal dietitians to be out there making this difference. So I want to take you through some research here again as well. But first of all, let's talk a little bit more about eczema. So my daughter also has eczema, and I'm sure that somebody with it too, because as we said, 1 in 5 kids have it. And I'm really vigilant about it now But as a mum, like, it's just heartbreaking watching your little one's skin bleed, and for them to go through all that pain, and there's really not much that you can do. And many parents and even healthcare professionals don't know that dietary advice for pregnant mums, such as optimizing a mum's gut microbiome, can significantly impact a baby's risk of developing eczema. And realistically, if they did, they'd be queuing up to optimize their baby's microbiota during pregnancy. And so this is where we need to be getting this word out. And like I said, it's not just eczema that the microbiome impacts. Research shows that the microbiome can impact upon babies' future weight and their risk of asthma and food allergies, and also on the risk of developing gestational diabetes and preeclampsia during pregnancy. So it impacts upon mum's health too. And so this is where helping mums to optimize their gut microbiome during pregnancy is so incredibly important. Rodent studies for years have demonstrated that the maternal gut microbiota influences brain development, and also behavior of child behavior. And so but this was the first human study that came out last year. So it was a cohort of 213 mothers and 215 children from a longitudinal pre-birth cohort, and they analysed the mum's fecal microbiota during their third trimester of pregnancy. They also analysed the mum's dietary intake, and then they used the childhood behaviour checklist at the age of 2. And essentially they found that diversity of maternal fecal microbiota during the third trimester of pregnancy predicts children's behaviour at age of 2. I mean, isn't that just mind-blowing? And again, if you speak to parents out there who are having issues with childhood behaviour, and ask them whether just by going back and seeing a dietitian during pregnancy to optimize their gut microbiota, would they have spent the time and money doing that had they known the outcome that it would have on their child's behavior now? Of course, they're going to be saying yes. And so this is where I think dietitians have such an incredible opportunity in this space. Yeah, it's just amazing. So we see the same things in terms of infant obesity risk. So intergenerational transmission of obesogenic microbe hypothesis has been supported by several studies. And so what they've found is that obesity is characterized by an imbalance of the Firmicutes to Bacteroidetes ratio in the gut. And birth cohort studies reveal that infants born from overweight or obese mamas were abundantly colonized with the bacterial genera belonging to the phyla Firmicutes, especially the Lactospirinaceae family. And they had a greater risk of becoming overweight by 1 to 3 years of age. And of course, we know that kids who are overweight by 1 to 3 years of age have a significantly higher risk of going on to develop obesity as an adult. Additionally, experimental studies of obese mice also support that this Lactospirinaceae species may contribute to the development of obesity, and also adipocyte inflammation and promote diabetes as well. And then also levels of Staphylococcus, Enterobacteriaceae and E. coli have also reported to be elevated in overweight compared to healthy weight pregnant mamas. Then in terms of atopic risk, so allergies and asthma, epidemiological studies have linked factors influencing microbiota establishment and the risk of allergy. Several studies have showed that treatment with broad spectrum antibiotics in infancy, which causes dysbiosis, is associated with increased susceptibility to allergy, such as asthma, eczema, and allergic rhinitis. And so the role of the gut microbiota in the development of oral tolerance, as well as specific microbial signatures in allergy, were confirmed using mice models. When it comes to human studies, several studies have highlighted differences in the composition of bacterial communities in the feces of subjects both with and without allergic diseases. And prospective studies are also showing changes in fecal microbiota before an onset of any atopic symptoms. So again, this is such an important area, but what we can't do is we can't just give a probiotic supplement, because researchers, there was a recent Cochrane review which found that probiotics during pregnancy can actually increase the risk of preeclampsia and may even increase the risk of gestational diabetes. So we don't want to just be giving a probiotic. What we need to do is we need prenatal dietitians working with pregnant mamas to help to optimize their microbiome through the use of a prebiotic diet. So imagine if every mama got personalized dietetic advice during pregnancy to be able to reduce the risk of inflammatory diseases, such as eczema, for their babies. I mean, can you think of somebody who would have appreciated this advice? I can think of heaps of people. So in summary, my key message to you is that specializing in epigenetic programming or early life nutrition or pregnancy nutrition enables us as dietitians to make a truly lasting impact. And I've given you some examples of this, that optimizing prenatal nutrition can impact a baby's brain development to optimize learning and cognitive health, can optimize their taste buds to determine future food preferences, and can optimize their microbiome to affect their risk of chronic diseases. And most importantly, it's us as dietitians that hold the key to change. But there is a few problems that I've mentioned. So that's that in general, people out there don't know what we can do and the difference that we can make. And even if they did, there's not enough dietitians with specialist knowledge in this area to be able to service people. And the reality is that if you have a pregnant mum come in and you give them general pregnancy advice, you tell them about listeria and you make sure they're on folic acid, then yes, you can make a bit of a difference, but general advice is going to give average results. If you really want to transform the epigenetics of a child, then the clients are going to need specialized, detailed, personalized advice to get those transformational results. And so, like a pen in the hand of a skilled writer or some flour and eggs in the hands of a skilled chef, the power's not simply in the tools, but in the hands of those using them. And so I hope that I've given you, that you can see from the examples that I've given you, that to really make a difference to mamas and the epigenetic profiles of their little ones, simply providing general dietetic principles is not going to be enough. That these mums are going to need that specialized information. And it's not just something that I've seen has impacted my practice, but I've seen so many dietitians who are now moving to specialize in this area, are getting these incredible results and just loving this area of practice. All right, so Leah started her business in early life nutrition literally just 3 years ago, so not very long ago at all. She was previously working clinically in a hospital and also for another company as a generalist dietitian. She now runs a full-time clinic, employing 2 other dietitians specializing in early life nutrition in just 3 years. She has recently just put an additional $10,000 of a super into her retirement account. She's bought a new car and she's given herself a pay rise. And she's about to move locations because she's run out of clinic space. So there's just so much demand for dietitians who are really specialising in this area. So as I said at the start, I really want to encourage you to grab hold of these quick start bundles so that you can really start making a bigger difference with your clients. But before we wrap up and move over to questions, I just want to undertake one quick but powerful exercise with you to help you figure out whether this is the right fit for you. So I mentioned earlier that to make change, to really make change, we can't rely on a handful of prenatal dietitians. So what I want you to do is to close your eyes for a minute and imagine yourself 12 months from now. You're running a successful private practice, seeing parents-to-be and changing the lives of the next generation. Your last client leaves your clinic for the day and you open your email to find another email from a happy client holding a picture of their gorgeous baby girl and thanking you for helping them to achieve the most important transformation in their life, a healthy baby. Now, I want you to open your eyes now, and I just want to ask you, does that feel like something that you want to do? Does that feel like where you want to be in 12 months' time? I hope so, because as I said, there's just such a huge need for dietitians to specialise in this area. And so if this has spoken to your heart tonight, then I'm just going to share quickly on how you can reach these goals easier and faster than you thought. So first of all, again, is that step one is that I want you to download our free bonus bundle. And I urge you to do this straight away as soon as we get off this webinar. So as I said, first of all, it includes the 7-day meal plan that you can use with your pregnancy clients. There's a whole lot of recipes and things. So that'll just be something that you can give to your clients tomorrow to help to add more value to your clients. Secondly, there is the ultimate prenatal supplement comparison chart that you can use to help to supplement, to personalize your clients' prenatal supplements. And then there's a little 17-minute mini training on how to best use that prenatal supplement chart. But like I said, it's only available for a limited time, so please download it now. And then step two is that for those who are interested, you can also join the waiting list for our Nutrition Therapy for Pregnancy program. So Nutrition Therapy for Pregnancy is an 8-week intensive group coaching program that provides dietitians with the foundational evidence, skills and resources to upskill from generalist dietitian to specialist dietitian, so that you can help your clients have the healthiest pregnancy possible and give their babies a head start in life. And we've also now got, for those dietitians who are already specialising in this space, we've also got an advanced stream as well. So I'm not going to go into all of the details here, but I'll just tell you that it's been the launch pad for many, many dietitians to transform their careers to become specialist prenatal dietitians. And you can find out more details either in the bonus bundle or reach out to myself or my team directly. So now I'd love to see if anybody has any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melanie. That was fantastic. The questions were lighting up throughout your presentation, and I want to circle back to one of them that came, well, not one, but a topic that several came in about. Can you speak a little bit more to, I'm probably going to butcher the phrase, but hyperemesis gravidarum a bit? I guess just the persistent morning sickness, right? So yes. A few folks chimed in, a lot of guilt given, put on moms, a lot of pressure put on moms because they can't keep food and nutrients down, their baby might suffer. So maybe elaborate a little bit on that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So with hyperemesis gravidarum, there is a range of it. First of all, part of the way that it's diagnosed is when people are vomiting at least 3 times a day. But even if they're vomiting once a day, it can still have an impact upon people's nutritional intake. And this is where, again, I think it's so important for people to be seeing a prenatal dietitian, because we need to be individually tailoring the dietary advice. So you've certainly got clients at the severe end of the HG spectrum where they need to be hospitalized and they may need a nasogastric tube or a drip to help them. But in terms of people that are trying to manage it at home, there's things that we can do as dietitians, such as there are particular nutritional milks that some people are able to keep down, that have got, like, their prenatal ones that have got particular like they're like a prenatal supplement in a drink. We can also be looking at when during the day people can meet their requirements. We might be looking at their nutritional supplements, and we might say, okay, well, you can't keep down any tablets at the moment, but maybe we can switch you over to gummies or liquid ones, or again, as a dietitian working in this space, I'll often look at things like sometimes even prescribing intramuscular injections, but usually liquid supplements. And you can't just use a standard prenatal in that case. You have to really look at, well, how much, like, what are going to be the key nutrients for that client, and which of those can I get them to take in a liquid format. Or say, for example, they need vitamin D. Well, maybe we can, instead of getting them to take vitamin D on a daily basis, maybe it's about giving them like one of the once a month vitamin D supplements. Maybe they need some B12. So then we can give that to them as a liquid version. Iodine you can get as a liquid version. Folate is probably one of the trickiest ones, but again, you can get folate in mixed into drinks and all sorts of different things. So this is where, again, I think it's, rather than people battling through it by themselves, seeing a dietitian when somebody's experiencing HG is absolutely essential. Oh, you're on mute, Leslie.
Thank you. I said that's great. It seems like there's lots of alternatives. It's just a matter of customizing to what your patients need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, one of the good things is that as dietitians now, we can do it virtually. So people don't even have to be coming in to see us. And so, it just makes it so much easier for clients. They're getting on a virtual call with you. You have a chat with them about what they can manage and what they can't manage, and then you're really providing something so tailored to their needs to help them improve their nutrition when they're really struggling with nausea and vomiting.
Excellent. So in that same vein, regarding vitamins and minerals that pregnant mamas need, regarding iron, many pregnant moms see constipation as a result of iron. So any recommendations or thoughts about easing that, as iron is super important, as we know, but the other side of it is, what do you do to sort of manage the side effects?
Yeah, a lot, actually. I can speak on this topic for ages. So first of all, the recommendations are actually that iron isn't given prophylactically during pregnancy because of a number of reasons. So one is the side effects that it can have in terms of constipation and increasing nausea, particularly during the first trimester. And then secondly, there's also research that a lot of people don't know that, in fact, having too much iron during pregnancy can actually increase the risk of gestational diabetes. So we actually don't want to be giving iron as a supplement if possible. The ideal scenario is actually us seeing clients before they conceive to get their iron stores up before pregnancy. But during pregnancy, we first of all want to be doing what we can to help them to optimize their dietary intake of iron is the first goal. Then secondly, if they still need additional iron during pregnancy, and we can't get it up through dietary means, then it's about looking at, well, what type of iron supplements, so looking at what their iron levels are with a blood test and then how much they need, and then really working out, well, what's going to be the best type of iron for them. And it might not be the iron that's in a prenatal. So again, the most common scenario is that, and I go into this in more detail in the little mini supplements training, but people often just take a standard multi and that's it. Whereas as dietitians, we have so much knowledge and opportunity to be able to tailor their supplements and their diet to optimize their nutrition during pregnancy. So we might put them onto a prenatal that is low in iron, but then put them onto an additional iron supplement that has the right amount of iron in it, and the right form of iron that's going to reduce their constipation and nausea side effects. So again, it really comes back to that expertise and being able to personally tailor.
Fantastic. Well, we've come to the top of the hour and a couple minutes over, but I did want to end with one question for you because a few folks, a handful of folks actually chimed in and asked, what advice do you have for new RDs or maybe even seasoned RDs who maybe want to, change focuses in their career? What advice do you have for folks who want to specialize in prenatal nutrition? What would be the first thing you'd have them do?
So yeah, I feel like I really actually answered that question at the end. So first thing that I would encourage you to do is, and like, I'm so happy to hear that question though, because like I said, I just think there's so much opportunity and so much need. So the first thing to do would be to download this bonus bundle. And then have a look at our, jump onto the waiting list for our nutrition therapy for pregnancy program. As I said, it has been the launch pad for many dietitians to specialize in this area and really upskill in this very unique area, but that just has so much impact.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Melanie. This was such a great webinar. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We were super excited to work with you guys, and I want to thank you for sharing your expertise tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute joy.
Awesome. So you can look forward to our next webinar, also a complimentary webinar brought to you by American Pistachio Growers. It's called The Role of Nutrients in Developing a Healthy Immune System. It's happening on Tuesday, August 9th from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. So we're back to our normal 2 o'clock time frame. Dr. Mike Roussel is going to discuss the role of a nutrient-rich dietary pattern, including examining specific benefits key nutrients play in developing a healthy immune response. So again, this one's free. You can register as soon as you sign off today at ce.todaysdietitian.com/APG for American Pistachio Growers APG Immune System. Thanks again, Melanie. Thanks everybody for joining us and have a wonderful evening. And Melanie, have a great Friday. TGIF to you.
Thank you so much. It was great to meet you all. Thanks so much for having me.
Take care, everyone. Good night.